what are those effective ways when you do a content marketing strategy?
Those could be one or two of our content pillars.
I've seen a lot of posts on LinkedIn. People actually do thought leadership.
I think when it comes to thought leadership, there are a lot of factors involved also. It's not going to get you the visibility.
So from clarity to consistency to being authentic, what about the communication?
Have to contribute to the industry also, contribute to the customer also, talk about your product also, and
can we talk about, what are the effective KPIs a content strategist or a brand should manage?
So,
what if your name became more powerful than your job title? In the world where attention span are short and competition is everywhere, the one thing that truly sets you apart is your personal brand. Not your resume, not your company, but how people remember you. Today's guest is someone who lives this philosophy every day. Meet Ruchi Batra, founder of Chipmunk Digital, a strategist who helps brands and individuals show up online with clarity, the purpose, and the real impact. But what makes Ruchi's story truly inspiring is that she didn't just build the brand, she rebuilt her life. After 11 years in the corporate world across market research and the content marketing, she made a bold decision to walk away from the conventional path and pursue freedom, authenticity, and the intentional living. Now a successful freelancer and a digital nomad working with top-tier clients, Ruchi's journey is proof that when your brand aligns with your values, your name can become your greatest asset. In today's episode, we will deep dive into the personal branding and the social media strategy, not just for the visibility, but for the real connection. We'll talk about how to build a strong digital presence, the power of storytelling, and how to stand out in a noisy world, but without losing yourself in this process. So if you're ready to take your brand and your life to the next level, this episode is for you. And without further ado, let's dive in. Welcome, Ruchi, to the show.
hi Ankesh, thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Ruchi, when I was reading through the LinkedIn profile and, looking at the overall, your own persona, I was pretty excited about how your journey actually went through. Mm-hmm. So how about we start with the question that, what made you come to the digital content as a strategist and why did you choose this field? So a little background about yourself.
Sure. So you introduced it really well. And so I hadn't planned for it. Nothing actually, I would say, went planned. In my journey, I started with masters in chemistry. So the idea was to, do chemistry, then be a teacher because my parents wanted me to be. And at that time, many of us follow what our parents guide us to do, so we do that. But then later, I got a brilliant job in, corporate. I was recruited in the campus, for a FMCG, a very leading FMCG brand. Worked there, decided corporate seems good, so I decided I don't want to go for teaching, and then went to the US, had a really good, amazing time over there. Came back to India, saw that one of the research analytics company is hiring people from FMCG background. So I thought, okay, let's give it a try, and then that's how I went into research and analytics. Spent good time in corporate, and then there was a time I felt that now I need to start something of my own, and that was the time I thought about marketing, because being honest, marketing was my passion when I was young. But then again, I was influenced by what my parents told me to do, and it was their intention to give me a stable life. So but that's how I went back to what I really wanted to do. And marketing has great scope, as we all know. Yeah. Every single brand in this world wants to create a niche, and without branding, it's highly difficult to actually get attention. So I think that's how I went into marketing.
Yeah, I think the same usual story of all millennials that, we actually have to follow what our parents tell us without,
Yes.
sometimes we actually compromise it, and sometimes we actually just go beyond and do what we like. And eventually, as you rightly mentioned, at a very young age, you could have changed the word, but you followed the path of what your parents said. But you made a great, strong personal brand of yourself. The very first post that you did yesterday, I see a lot of people actually getting engaging, comments onto that, and that's exactly what we want.
Yes.
So how did you actually identify, this strong personal brand need, and what are those key elements that you would probably suggest, or you suggest to your clients that, you need X and Y to ensure that, that stays for long?
Right. So, first, I would say I would like to actually bust a myth here, which is which I get to see so many times in this market, is that, we need a million followers, or we need at least 50K followers. People feel that if you have a lot of followers, you have created a brand. But I would clearly say that if you have 1,000 followers who are really, trusting you, that's much better than, let's say, having 100K followers who don't even care about it. Passive followers is not something you should be looking at. So that is one thing I would like to say. And when you want trust and credibility from your audience, then there are, I would say, some elements you have to look at. First is clarity, that whatever you're doing, first you need to see whether you have the clarity. Let's say today you think you want to offer this, but tomorrow you have a different plan in mind. So if your offer is not very clear, what you're offering to the audience, what you're offering to the world, are there any pain points you're addressing for them? Are there any issues you're going to address through your product or service? Stick to that. Have some clarity in that. Then second thing I feel people many times lack, and it's a very simple thing to say, is consistency. We will post for 10 days. We don't get good traction. We get demotivated. And then, sometimes they fire the marketing team thinking that they are not very productive. And then they are they just leave it. And then they come back again with another strategy. So if you're back and forth you're doing this, it can lead to a gap in between, and then audience is not going to see you sometimes on some days, and then few days you have disappeared. So you have to keep showing up in their feed. If you're selling a product, you need to keep showing up. You need to keep showing your product to them, or whatever your solution you're giving to them. So that consistency is very important here. So then another point is very important is, how authentic you are. Are you only sharing good things about your brand? You're just being salesy, sharing your product. Okay, this does that. Or are you also sharing, your failures? You're sharing what you learned from your journey. How many times did you fail, and how did you come up the curve? So those are the things when you keep sharing, when a founder behind the brand is talking about his story, that's how the audience resonates with you. If you're just posting for the heck of getting sales, it might work, but chances are that nowadays how chaotic the market is, AI is there, and how we see so much of noise. What really is going to help is the authentic brand, where people, if they can trust you, if they are able to say, yes, I trust this person, whatever he is offering, he's ethical. If they are able to trust you, that's, I think, is the maximum impact you can create in this market.
So from clarity to consistency to being authentic, what about the communication?
Communication is very important. When they comment, you have to really communicate with them authentically, not just for the heck of just commenting back, but you need to create those real relationships with your audience, and it could be through the DMs, it could be engaging with their content, because all these platforms are based on community. So if you're just if you feel, okay, I posted it and I'm done, my job is done, then I would say you're only, I would say 30 to 40% of the work is done. There's work beyond that where you communicate with your audience, and through maybe making good videos, video content, where you come as a, come in front and talk to them, and talk about their pain points and issues, and real issues, and I would say real content, and not just fancy logos and visuals and all.
Yeah, I agree. So clarity, consistency, authentic conversations, and then the communication plays a vital role. Considering, let's take a brand as an example. There are a lot of brands who fail on checking one box out of the four most of the time. And you rightly mentioned, they have a consistent approach towards what communication goes out on any social media, but then there's a gap.
Yes.
Because they don't have any content to do, and they're only doing one product. And they know that a certain product goes out at a certain time, but there's no communication before, or say, for example, it goes out on a given Thursday, and the communication is out on that following week or the previous week, but there's again a gap after a week. What would you suggest that people should strategize in a way that the constant communication goes out, and because the trust is only built when you talk about it, right? And when you give a silent note for almost a week, people may forget what is exactly happening. And the second thing is, people may remember you for this product, even if you're not communicating. How would you ensure that on this, effective social media platforms, the efforts that you're making are counted, even if you're silent for a week?
So, it's a very good question, because let's say they are communicating, but there is a gap in between the content. So in that case, whether you are doing it yourself, because I know a lot of solopreneurs who create content on their own and they don't have a team, or you are having a team. If you are doing it on your own, I would say allot one day, maybe couple of hours in once in a week or twice in a week, where you put down all your notes, put down all your thoughts. Or if you don't want to do it that way, then you can, whenever a thought comes up to your mind, you can just put it down in a note. And then when you have some time, you can just, create content out of it, instead of thinking, okay, I have to do it right away, I have to do it today, because sometimes we are not in that space to create content. Creating content in bulk, I would say, is really important, but it's not like that you have to create 10, 20 pieces, as many marketers say, because if you are talking about your real authentic story, it is not like something which you can just come up with. You have some thoughts, you're gonna, go further with it, you're gonna evolve with it, and then another thought comes up. So best is to put it down in a notebook or maybe in your phone, and evolve with it, and then try creating it in in advance, so that in between, when you have time, you're able to post it, and then continually you are able to do it. With the same with the marketing team also, when we are creating content, we don't create just, okay, let me do it today and then tomorrow. We have ideas in our mind, we take feedback from our clients, okay, how do you feel about it, and then we create it in bulk, so that at least 2 to 3 pieces in a day, and then we take their feedback, and that's how we evolve with it.
I think that's a good point you mentioned. The fact is that the consistency can come from a certain storyline, and that story always changes.
Yes.
So feedback management plays a very vital role. Now, considering that it has research involved in it, and it has certain target audience involved in it, how do you ensure that these things work in the same way, so that that product which is going out as a demo or as a brand, its own values, doesn't get spoiled, and that consistency in the communication and the impressions that a target audience is taking goes along with it. So when we reach out to these audiences, we really have to have a consistent communication going out. Any brands wanted to have that consistent communication, you probably be researching your audiences, you probably be researching about the brand. There's a lot of research which undergoes. What are those effective ways when you do a content marketing strategy turns around or covers around your research and the target audience that you go with?
So Very good question, and research is very important. I see many clients and many founders just, start posting without research. It's very difficult. It's like, you're just in the dark and you're just trying to figure it out. So research is definitely the most important aspect here. For research, what we have done most of the times is that we go to our competitors, clients' competitors. Let's say if it's a real estate company in Dubai, we'll go to their competitors, we will look at the comments there. Many times we have come up with some very concrete comments. Like, for example, we had a client in real estate industry in Dubai, and we were doing some research, and we saw comments where, their potential customers were asking, there are always hidden charges involved. There are, how to get a golden visa, how are we able to get it, but there are certain hidden things behind. So those were the pain points where in real estate, if you would see, a lot of customers face that they don't get the clarity. So what we did was we used that content, we used that question as a content piece. So every comment the customer is doing, except those a good job, great going and all that. No, I'm not talking about that. But any comment which is more proactive and where they are talking about the pain points or their issues is actually a content piece for us, where if we address that, if we start talking about that, I think a client would have more clarity, or the customer would have more clarity. So one is look at the comments of the competitors, big leading competitors, and then look at the comments. Second, you can go to Reddit also. You will get a lot of content over there and real trending issues. You can always look at that and you can see how people are responding to that. That's another thing. And there was one of our clients who is actually a millennial mom. And we looked at the TikTok comments and we saw so much of frustration among, mothers who have just got, pregnant, and they had a lot of issues. We actually had put down every comment and analyzed it and put it in the Excel and saw that we could actually create 30 to 40 pieces out of it, content pieces out of it, which we were not aware before. So I think comments is the best thing. And then you can also take feedback from your clients. We take a lot of feedbacks from our clients. In fact, when we get onto the calls with our clients, we discuss with them, what are their pain points. Let's say if I'm talking to a client, potential client actually, and the first thing I would like to ask him is, like, if he is already in the business and established business, what are the issues he's facing? Through that, I would get to know a lot. So any brand who wants to establish their business and want to be a powerful brand, they definitely need to look at the comments and the issues their customer is facing. I think from there you can get a lot of content.
Yeah, let's take an assumption here. So mostly, you're talking about the content management strategy a business can take to thrive into the market. Let's take an just a assumption. I'm a brand. And I have a competitor brand as well. Mm-hmm. In order to create a low-key profile where I'm asking a few individuals to create their own fake profiles and go type any bad comment onto that brand. Now, a strategist would read all the comments about the competitor, whereas comments are basically fake, right? Mm-hmm. You're picking up those which are more productive in nature and proactive in nature, not the ones which are just 2 words or stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Now, you don't know whether these contents are real or fake. How do you as a role, do you actually validate by doing small market research with the existing client customer base? Mm-hmm. Or you just pick it up? Because what I understood from the examples, Millennium Malls and Moms mm-hmm. and the retail one, I think that has a brilliant content strategy which actually worked out because of the comments. Mm-hmm. But there are comments which are fake as well. How mm-hmm. do you validate those comments and how do you come up with a strategy there?
Mm-hmm. Sure. So again, we have to be mindful about it. Now, looking at the AI, comments can be generated also using AI, right? And they can be fake. They don't really necessarily have to be the true ones. So in that case, we do it. We check it mindfully. And many times AI comments, AI posts, which are totally AI based and no personalization. Everyone is using AI, but if there's no personalization in it and it's just being drafted on AI and just posted, in that case, or if it's a comment also, it's you can spot that. You can spot that difference. And plus, we do research also. As I said, we do Reddit and we do other, on Google and on internet. We do a lot of research to figure it out whether these are the real issues. And when we look at competitors, what are the common issues we see in the comments. If it's just one or two, it's not prominent. So if you are analyzing 5 competitors, then there are going to be common issues we can see in all the 5 competitors, the comments.
So the content strategy would cover those elements as well.
Absolutely.
And then say you identify top 5 elements which will give you a gist on how to work on that content strategy.
Absolutely. And those could be one or two of our content pillars, which I'm going to talk about later. But this could be the pain points and the comments with the issues we have seen. Those could be 1 or 2 content pillars around which the content is going to revolve.
So I was about to come onto that content pillar thing.
Yeah.
So most of those business and they create consistency by creating those contents. What are those pillars on which they can stand by large?
So pillars is like when we say content pillars, it's about doing, as we talked about, the research, exhaustive research on what are the pain points, issues, and then coming up with, let's say, 3 to 4 content pillars, not more than that. Content pillars, when we say, is I would say the bigger segment around which your content is going to revolve around. Like, for example, founder's story, his success, his wins, his life journey could be one of the pillars, as I feel, right? Second could be the pain points, and then you can sub-segment it into more further detail. Then pain points, the issues the audience is facing, or your potential client is facing in the industry right now. Third could be, you could be talking about some trending topic in your industry where you are contributing to the industry also, because ideally if you're just talking about your product, that is going to be one pillar through which you're going to say, okay, this is my product and this addresses your issues. So that's one pillar. But if you're only talking about your product, that becomes very salesy. So you are sharing value. You are sharing more and more value you can, and that value could be contributing to the industry also. So industry could be one pillar where you're taking care of lot of pain points in overall in industry people are facing. So you are contributing to that. And then we also talk about larger issues also. So if you're only talking about product and yourself, then that also could be monotonous. So you also want to talk about bigger issues also. You want to be a contributor to that also. Over there you might get larger impressions, you might get larger engagement, because larger audience is able to resonate with it, and they might not be your ideal customer profile, but you are getting visibility out of it. So you have to plan it ahead in okay, once in a week I'm posting about this, then I'm once or twice in a week I'm talking about my product, and once in a week I'm talking about some trending issue or some pain point. So you have to plan it in a way that you are not being monotonous, and your audience is not like, okay, he only talks about this. You have to, as a whole, have to contribute to the industry also, contribute to the customer also, talk about your product also, and overall also trending topics which are the conflicts or some where you feel you can contribute and you have a say.
I've seen a lot of posts on LinkedIn. People actually do thought leadership.
Yes.
That's not a true thought leadership, to be honest, when I read their thoughts, because they're selling something else, but they're not promoting it onto the LinkedIn. They're only talking about, it's more like an advice to the word. How would that content strategy works? Because it does give a visibility, and as you read, initially in the start of the podcast, you mentioned that the visibility may be 30%, but it is not yielding.
Yes,
That's what I
absolutely.
believe. Reason why? Because I don't see too many likes. I don't see too many comments. I don't see the engagement overall. I precisely what I cannot actually see is the impressions that they are getting on that post. Even if they say I get good amount of impressions, the point is impressions can only work if there's something catchy element to it. Even if I'm giving a thought leadership, I am seeing there's one guy who promotes AI knowledge by far, and every single post gets amount of collaboration with the respective people around the AI enthusiasts, and I see that's a value chain which is he creating. But on the other side, there's another guy who just posts pictures and a thought leadership statement. Comparing both, the strategy remains the same because both of them posting some value notes. One is not engaging, the other one is engaging. So this question is for those people, which I'm asking you to answer, is that 30% visibility, what it yields to them, and what should they change, doing those kind of a content that they do.
I think when it comes to thought leadership, there are a lot of factors involved also. How much experienced you are you really an expert in that field? And when you're sharing something, how responsibly you're sharing that. I mean, just picking up any trending topic and talking about it is not going to get you the visibility. You might get impressions, some impressions, likes, or if you're using a bot, then you might, get a lot of traction also, right? But are people really trusting you? That's another question. It's a very important question, because are you really an expert in that field? What made you, an expert in that field? That's a very important
But
question.
Ruchi, something is missing there, right? Because you rightly mentioned, they're picking up content because of the trending topic.
Yes.
But still there's something missing. And the trust is not building up.
Absolutely.
What would you
yeah.
suggest that missing element should be, they should fill that gap?
I have to analyze that
Yeah, exactly.
profile. Yes,
Exactly.
yes. So for me, it's very important to first audit that profile and see their old content. I have to see what they have been posting. Is there a content strategy involved, or they are just randomly? One day I see a lot of people. One day they talk about some topic, then another day they are just coming up and talking about some other topic. Is there any thought process behind what they are doing? That is very important, and that comes with auditing their profile. How much experience do they have? Do people actually, when they are talking about these topics, do people actually look at them as experienced professional, or they just, I see a lot of people, as you said, like just posting for the heck of it. So are people looking at them as a expert in the industry? Have they done enough to be there? How are their old posts and old content? That all needs to be seen to come up with a solution for them.
So Ruchi, you mentioned that, there should be a consistent content strategy. Can we talk about, what are the effective KPIs a content strategist or a brand should manage when they're building effective marketing solutions or data-driven marketing solutions?
So, being data-driven is very important. You have to analyze, I would say, every single post you are, every single content you are creating, and that's how you get to know what's working and what's not working for you. And every platform comes up with these metrics. It could be different on different platforms. LinkedIn has impressions and engagement. Instagram, lately I have seen that they, if you are saving and sharing more, they give a lot of value to it. And also there's another thing they have started, is that the longer the content is, now it's performing well.
I saw somewhere a video saying that if you have a 3-minute content, then it would go.
Yes. But of course, authentic and valuable content. And now they have changed that,
But I still don't understand. I mean, the attention span is just like 3 seconds. Why they wanted people to post a 3-minute video?
For more engagement. And then I think they think that the more the people watch it, it also shows the value. It also shows that the content that has been created has a good value in
Makes
it.
sense.
It's adding more value to your life, because otherwise, why would people watch that? So they are changing They keep changing, they keep evolving, and we have to keep ourselves updated with it. But yeah, recently I've been noticing saves and shares play a very big role. Like, the more people are saving the content and sharing it further, that clearly shows that it's, it has some value to it. So on LinkedIn, there are impressions, engagement. You should keep analyzing them. If you're using a ad, boosting it, then also you have to analyze how many people have clicked on the website, the link which you have provided, what is the cost per click, and everything has to be analyzed to understand where you want to go ahead. But at the same time, yes, look at the analysis, look at the analytics, but also be mindful that some content will perform very well. As we said, the impression is going to be so great, but it doesn't mean that you're going to get something like, you're going to get some leads out of it. So that could be good for you to, get that visibility, but keep focusing on the content which is giving you better, I would say, cost per click. If you're using, like, let's say if you're using creating a campaign, so you want to make sure that your cost is being reduced. Cost per click is being reduced, and it's not like that you're spending a lot of money and then you're not getting any benefit out of it. So you have to keep, I would say, mindfully keep checking all the factors, but at the same time you have to keep evolving with it. Like, the visual, is the visual good, what you're posting? Is it giving you that engagement, or is it giving you the, the leads you had expected, or is it something which, just giving you the impressions and no results? So you have to mindfully look at all the parameters, I would say.
So when you do that, do you actually look at the emerging trends?
Absolutely.
So how effectively that work in certain cases, let's say a FMCG brand?
So I would say trends do work. For example, AI-driven content is nowadays, it's a trend, right? And it is working out really well for people. People are creating content in the shortest time possible. So it does work, but at the same time, it also brings another reality with it. For example, when AI came, many marketers were worried that it's going to replace them. But now I don't think so. I'm worried at all, because I can see so much of AI created content which is lacking value, which is lacking personalized stories, which is lacking that substance in it. So I see people just posting it, and that's just noise, So whatever trend we are following, it's very important to even mindfully look at it, that the content you're posting, is it just going down the drain and it's just a part of that noise, or are you really being authentic when you're creating the content?
And specifically when you're doing it for your own personal brand.
Absolutely. I use AI. I think most of the people are using AI. But if you are just letting AI take your voice and you're just posting whatever is being created by AI, then someone else is also creating the similar content. So it's like noise. But if you put your personal opinion in it, make it personalized, you put your story in it, or put your opinion in it, which AI might not be able to replicate. So that's very important. As I said, raw content is again getting into the market. Earlier, polished content was really doing great, but now raw content, messy content is going up. People are liking that because it's authentic. People can see it's not AI created. It's the raw story. It's the raw, thing the person is sharing. So they feel that, okay, it's authentic. And it's going to go that way only. The more AI comes, people are going to crave for authentic content. So I think following trends is important. We shouldn't be isolated and just keep doing our stuff. Being informed is good. Follow the trends, but not always we need to follow. I mean, on Instagram also, I see a lot of trends coming up, people creating reels and everything. Yes, we do follow some of the trends, but only those ones which add value, and we skip many of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's more like, you're following the blind trends, you're not following the real trends.
Might get visibility out of it, but can't say it's going to get you somewhere, or,
I think the conversation just we had has a very deep roots in how a content strategy being defined. What is that one advice you wanted to give to the businesses or anybody more like a solopreneur who wanted to create their own personal brand?
advice for the content strategy.
Yes.
So I would say spend a lot of time in building this up. If you're doing it on your own, then spend a lot of time building this up. Revise it further. It's going to evolve with you, evolve with your thoughts, with your journey. Look at your competitors, analyze them thoroughly. Don't just start posting. One thing I would say, look at the pros and cons of what you're doing. You want to talk about a controversial topic, think about it. What are going to be the pros and cons? And if you have a marketing team with you, then in that case, I would say with the marketing team, you need to, let them know your thoughts. Lot of times I have seen that founders are not very comfortable, or they don't take out time to, sit with the marketing team and share their story, their inspiration behind it. And marketing team has to actually chase them to give them, their thought process. It's very important that, you sit with the marketing team and discuss what was the inspiration behind your brand. Why did you start this brand? What are the challenges you're facing? In fact, introduce them to your team members. Get them on the discussions, whatever discussions you're having about your success stories, about your failures, so that they can understand where you're coming from. That's a gap I think that needs to be addressed.
And that is such a powerful conversation that I had with you, Ruchi. Thank you so much for coming onto the show and sharing your story, the way you've built up the entire strategist market for your own self, and the way you're actually helping people across the globe. Because when I saw the last post, I saw a lot of people outside of India, talking about what you have been doing. So thank you so much for coming onto the show. And we had an immense conversation about how content strategy should work.
Thank you. And thank you for having me here.
So ladies and gentlemen, this was a master class in itself. And it is not just about building a personal brand, but doing it with the soul, strategy, and the self-awareness. From unlearning the societal expectation to reshape her own narrative, Ruchi has reminded us that, your personal brand is not just about fitting into a mold, but it's about breaking it with an intention. And if you're feeling called to show up more boldly, build more authentically, and even rethink how your life and work align, take a page from Ruchi's journey. And remember, your brand is not just the word sees you, how the word sees you, and it's about how the word feels you. You can follow Ruchi and the Chipmunk Digital for more insights. And if you found value in this episode, so we just mentioned that, sharing is more like caring. So please share it with someone who needs a little more nudge to step into their own story. And if conversations like these inspire you, don't forget to follow or subscribe to the Collaborative Canvas, where we bring you real stories, expert insights, and the meaningful dialogues to help you grow and reflect and reimagining success on your own terms. So until next time, keep creating, keep growing, and keep being unapologetically you. Thank you so much.